So this is chapter 4 in our expert series podcast on OCD, how we deal with it, what it is, what treatment looks like from our local expert here, April Vass of OCD Wellness. This chapter is going to be about the value of early intervention and compassionate support. So this one, spending a good deal of time in therapy myself on both sides of the table is just critical for me because I was one of those people with the painkillers. I took the time I needed to take to get there ultimately, but if I went a year earlier, there probably would have been less pain to deal with, less problems to deal with. Ultimately is what happens every day. I was living that way. This stuff was getting worse, essentially. So early intervention, we just can't promote it enough. And the more we understand why, I think the easier we take that first step. So you mentioned that many people suffer in silence years before they find the right help. Why do you think that happens so often? So let's tackle that first, and then we'll go into the next part. Why do you think that happens so often?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the big one is just like the lack of education and awareness in like just society as a whole. We have all these stereotypes that are coming through in movies and online where it's like this clean and organized person. And I think that causes confusion for people that if you're not diagnosed and you don't know what's going on for you, you won't even know to seek support for the OCD because you're like, well, I don't like clean things or I don't touch things, and there is what's called PIRO where you have mental compulsions, not physical compulsions. So
what is it called?
It's called PIRO. So like purely obsessional, but like it's not. It just you have compulsions, but they're mental, so they're not seen. They're not physical compulsions. So when we're acknowledging this, like individuals are often calling us and saying, I didn't realize it could be OCD because I don't have any physical compulsions. It's all in my head. Or I didn't realize it was because I'm not worried about cleanliness and contamination or things being exactly where they need to be. I'm worried about this taboo thing, or, I thought something was truly wrong with me because I didn't realize that could be OCD. So I think it's just this broad lack of education and awareness about what OCD is. I think it also comes down to like lack of training and knowledge for professionals. I unfortunately feel like there's a lot of professionals still out there that say they treat OCD when they do not specialize in OCD. Like they may be using other modalities that will just perpetuate the symptoms of OCD and make things worse. There's also a lot of doctors and like just higher up professionals that don't have that knowledge yet. Like we see a lot of misdiagnoses and things happening still. I think there's just so much more room for growth and education. Like again, I went to the States to get trained because there wasn't really much around here in Canada. We don't have many like treatment facilities here, really none at all. Like we have Sunnybrook. So I think it's just the lack of support in the community, the lack of knowledge. Like we do, like I've started with another individual. We have a company called Behavioral Exposure Training and Corp. So OCD Wellness does supports clients, but we have another corporation, kind of short form, we call it Betty, and it does training for professionals so that we can get more people that are providing therapy and providing ERP, because like my team can't keep up with the need. And like there's a lot of need out there. I will say lastly that another piece that stops people from accessing support, something we talked about in the other podcast as well, is just the themes. So those taboo ones, the fear of harm to self, others, the pedophilia type OCD, all those really scary, like goes against my values. I don't know who I am. Like I don't even want to be in my own skin, let alone call someone and tell someone that I'm experiencing this. I think just, the fear of getting in trouble and reported will also prevent someone from accessing support.
Two critical things. I mean, I think we all know this. You don't know what you don't know, right? It's like for me to go get a cut treated on my leg, it's like it's painful and it's bleeding. You don't really need to be educated on it too much. Although I imagine the first people needed to be educated on what is this liquid coming out of my leg. But there's just some common sense stuff that you don't really need to ask about. And then there's the stuff of the mind, which a lot of it isn't common sense. It's difficult. It's a difficult place to navigate. That organ is incredible, and it can result in some of the most magical things in our life, but also some of the scarier places, mazes that we have to navigate through. So that was a big part about bringing you on here. Something that it seemed like you're adamant of, and we were adamant of, is this whole podcasting platform is about putting out quality education so people have something to access to as a resource to understand themselves better, to have better lives. Ultimately is the nuts and bolts of it. And we really appreciate you coming on here and sharing that information. And then the second piece that you added to it was really the shame of OCD. It seems like, especially those really negative thoughts, it's like, I don't even want to admit them to myself. The moment I say them to April, I am admitting them to myself and her. They're out. They must be true. Similar in the addiction world. Being, one of the first steps that we talk about is denial is a real thing. And as long as you're denying it, you cannot figure out how to deal with it. You won't be moving forward. So addressing that this is the case, now that this is the case, I'm not bad because of that. And there is ways to help and stop living this way.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what happens when OCD goes untreated, or you've mentioned this a few times now, is treated with the wrong approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just grows, right? I think it's as simple as that kind of
way worse.
Yeah, like look back at that bully analogy, right? Like the more you engage in compulsive behaviors, the more you feel like you need to, the more you develop this mistrust in yourself. Like you start to, like, you don't trust your senses. You check a door once, then you check it twice, and it's like, well, I can't trust what I see, right? Even while you're driving, like, did I hit someone? Like, you start to mistrust yourself in so many ways. The more you feed it, the more evidence you give it, the more ideas on how to come back and, like, pull you in again. So yeah, it just grows like significantly. The more you engage with the compulsions and the worry, just kind of gives strength to the OC, and then again, like, you lose trust in yourself. You just see everything kind of crumbling around you. The shame builds up. So, like, you don't have that strength anymore, the stronger the OC gets.
Right. Yeah. So you ignore the bully or the bills stacking up on your desk. It's just going to get worse. So early intervention, critical to get back to living a life that you really enjoy and being a person that you enjoy being. This is very interesting to me because I'm fascinated by neuroscience. I'm fascinated by the brain, the super complex universe that's sitting between my ears. The vast majority of it I don't understand, but still very fascinated about it. So when you talked about in your article, the change that actually happens to the brain, that was very interesting to me because I'm not speaking from a neuroscientist. So this is just what I've learned. Neuroplasticity, the reshaping of the brain, it seems like it's malleable. I can learn and unlearn things, and it actually changed like neural pathways and things like that inside your brain, which is incredible. And it doesn't seem like age is a real factor to that. Even as I age, get older and older and older, it seems like the brain is still able to reform in some way. So let's talk about that. What does early intervention actually change to the brain and the recovery process?
Yeah, well, one, like, the more, like you just said, like, the more you engage in the OC, you're creating these neural pathways, like these maladaptive, like, pathways in your brain that keep these patterns strong. And like, yeah, they kind of like, they start to become your behavior, and
So
your
that's the
go-to.
bully getting bigger, essentially. Is
Absolutely.
me training the bully to get bigger, and that's me rewiring my brain to create these pathways to allow the bully to get bigger.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I think when you're feeding the bully, like, there's true changes happening in your brain. And I know we talked about, like, the neuro pathways that are changing, but ultimately there have been studies where they will do like a scan, like a CT scan on the brain, and they will see true changes, and someone with OC versus not, like a severe fed OCD, like, you see the changes in the brain. Like, we can see that, like, there's just like this atrophy that's happening. You can see the strengthening of the prefrontal cortex, like in the loss, like, sorry, I should say, when you do treatment, you'll see that will strengthen the prefrontal cortex because there is a change there. Like, you lose your ability with, like, impulse management because you're just impulsively going and doing your, like, the compulsions. That cognitive flexibility is being impacted by the OCD. Just like all these things that help you like manage like emotional response and these compulsive behaviors, the more you engage in the OC, the more that like weakens around the impulsivity and that flexibility. So if you were to like engage in the treatment, we're able to strengthen the prefrontal cortex along with the other aspects of the brain, right? And we do know too, when you are feeding into those compulsions, like you're getting relief. And so with that, there can be this abnormal release of like serotonin and dopamine signaling that we wouldn't necessarily have. So and having that like serotonin and dopamine increase, it just like reinforces that OCD cycle.
Yeah. It's just a fascinating thing. But ultimately, it comes down to early intervention sets you up for success quicker.
Absolutely.
The longer you said fed OCD, and that really lined up with me because it's just like this big bully getting bigger and bigger as I'm feeding it.
Yeah.
The more I rewire my brain to make this bully bigger, ultimately, the harder the journey is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is something in treatment, like you see changes quite quickly. Like, but there will be this point where you kind of get a bit frustrated where you're like, oh, I just like, I got triggered and I automatically went and did the compulsion. And that's where we want to be kind to ourselves. We do something called spoiling. Well, it's like you did it because it's just a habit. Like your brain's been wired to do this for so long. It's like a safety mechanism that you've developed for yourself. So then we want to pause and we can do something what we call like spoiling a compulsion, where go undo it, go purposely recontaminate yourself, go purposely welcome the thought back in and kind of show it who's boss now, like use your tools. But it is like some of it is we do because we're so scared. Some of it it's so in a habit because we've created these neural pathways. So it truly is, we are rewiring your brain. And if you think about it, if you fed OC for a certain amount of time, it's not going to be rewired tomorrow, but you will start to feel it. You'll see the changes. You'll see yourself catching yourself or using your new tools instead. So it's definitely a process you feel happening, but it's not going to happen overnight either. So we want to be able to have that kindness and compassion as well.
So for anybody listening to this and they're thinking like, maybe I have it, maybe I don't have it. Like I've thought about that in our couple hours together a couple of times. So you've provided a lot of education, you've provided a lot of clarity, but still some people may be like, I don't know, I do know. Either way, I don't want to be alone in this anymore. I want to reach out. So somebody's ready to take their first step. How can they reach you? What's the best way to go about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can give us a call directly at like 705-417-3250. Like I said, you will get me. Sometimes I'm in session, so leave a message and I'll be sure to get back to you the day of. But you can also send us a text message as well. So you can call us or text us. We have our Instagram if you wanted to direct message us there as well for meeting up for a consultation. Our Instagram is at OCD.wellness. And we also have online booking. So if you were to go to OCD dash, I know someone stole my Instagram. I couldn't get the dash, but the website is the dash. So OCD-wellness.com. And you can book a free consult directly online without even calling us, or you can do the contact page and message us through there. I also have a YouTube that I've just started. There's nothing on it yet, but I have some videos and content I'll be putting on just for further education as well. And I believe that is at oc.wellness. oc.wellness, but I can't guarantee that because I just made it and I don't have it here.
Beautiful. And these videos, I'm sure, will be on there as well. April, you've been super kind to give your time. We know you're busy. It's been a pleasure getting to know you over this last year and a bit or so. And your work is fascinating. The fact that you've dedicated your life to helping people struggle through this and get some sense of control over their own life again, increase that quality and start, getting back to joy is an amazing thing. I always, it's like hat off and huge amount of respect to people who spend their life doing that. Some people just work for money and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people just work for themselves and there's also nothing wrong with that. But other people out there really working to help increase quality of somebody's existence, which I think is fascinating, especially in the world of the mind, such a confusing place. The level of knowledge you bring to the table is quite impressive. And we really appreciate you taking the time to share all that with us today. Any last remarks that you want before we shut it down?
Well, just thank you for having me. I think any opportunity to spread awareness is super important. And so I will definitely jump on that opportunity to do just that. I appreciate the time that you've given me and the amazing questions and conversations we've been having. I think just knowing and just a reminder that there is help out there, like you're not alone. We absolutely understand it. So to give us a call so we can help. And I absolutely love like working with OCD and tics and body focused repetitive behaviors. I think all my clients although the work can be hard and being a support to people can be a lot sometimes, I think they fill my cup up just as much. So it's a very rewarding job to have. And the people I come across are so amazing. So I can't complain. I love what I do. That's for sure.
Yeah, I could tell by the smile on your face and the way you talk about it. We won't take any more of your time, April. Thanks again. This was a real pleasure, really insightful for me. Great experience. But until next time, you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpwithjeffandsean.com. That's gnpwithjeffandsean.com. Or call 705-413-3775.